Corbynistas of the world, defenders of communism, all-round bad bleeding eggs, libels, defender of paedophiles. How about that one? I go to a march and Corbynistas call me a Nazi and call me a traitor to my own sort. Next thing you know, it comes out on the streets, a little wordy that Corbyn's 1980s socialist newspaper published pro-paedophilic articles. Get your head on that. So it makes sense why, when you're talking about grooming gangs, that the first stance of LIBOR, the protectors of the untruth, is to tell you that you're a racist. That's the first thing, because it turns out that they are appeasing to paedophilia. It turns out, doesn't it? Socialist Organiser, a newspaper very closely associated with Jeremy Corbyn, published pro-paedophilia articles in 1980s. At the time of the articles' publication, the early 1980s, Corbyn was one of the most senior members of the Socialist Campaign for the Labour Victory, in brackets, SCLV. Socialist Organiser was their official newspaper. So he was a senior member and this was the official paper. So this is affiliated with him, whether he likes it or not. But this is coming from a Nazi. So I'm a Nazi.
You must be if you follow
I am a Nazi.
You must be if you follow them.
Remember that? This is coming from a traitor to his own sort.
You're a traitor to your own sort. If you think they're okay.
Remember that? Not only did Corbyn regularly write for the paper, he was also listed as a patron, and in December 1979 was elected to the #1 spot of the SCLVs. In January 1981, Socialist Organiser published an article by Jerry Byrne entitled "Stop the Pie Trial." Now, if anyone doesn't know, I'm sure you do if you red-pilled, it's Paedophile Information Exchange, which was a group of people that were of paedophilic fucking mindset, but decided they had to have a little place where they could collude and then they could lobby against lowering the age of paedophilia. Sick fucks. But yet, they got a publication on LIBOR's official news publication coming from a Nazi. So I'm a Nazi. Which called for the trial of 4 executive committee members of the notorious Paedophile Information Exchange to be halted. Why would you want to halt that? A paedophile is a paedophile. You're lucky you're actually still breathing as a paedophile, but yet these guys have got the audacity to lobby to lower the age of child sex, consent with sex with children. Sick fucks. Coming from a Nazi. I am a Nazi.
You must be if you follow them.
The article described the proceedings as a show trial, where what matters is the creation of an atmosphere of hysteria, sensationalism, and a public cry for blood. A public distaste for people who get off on having sex with children. That's what it is. Public court of opinion. The average decent individual in society doesn't like people who like sex with children. They don't. And to say that it was consensual in any way is disingenuous. You're just lying. You're fulfilling your own fetish and then trying to say that the kid wanted it. That ain't wrong. That ain't wrong at all, is it? Coming from a Nazi.
You must be if you follow them.
It went on to complain that digging up ancient and arbitrary law in order to prevent paedophiles from communicating with each other is in no way a contribution to protecting children or dealing with paedophilia constructively or rationally. So is it rational to have a group of paedophiles that collude? Is it rational for them to have a publication that then lobbies for the breakdown in consent of sex with children to lower the age? Is that rational? Coming from a Nazi.
You must be if you follow them.
He went on to write, if the left is to associate itself with the demand for sexual freedom for the young, then it must take up and discuss the question of paedophilia. Let me stop and read that again. He went on to write, if the left is to associate itself with the demand for sexual freedom for the young, then it must take up and discuss the question of paedophilia, since if given a free choice of sexual matters, many children might choose to have relationships with adults. They can't vote, they can't smoke, can't drive a car, because they're not deemed mature enough. But these dirty bastards want to have sex with them. They're old enough to do that. Yeah? And I'm going to groom the child to make it think that it actually wants it. And it's a good thing. Finally, in the publication, Hearn called for a full discussion on the left and in the movements of oppressed groups on the question of child sexuality and whether, stroke how, the rights of children can be protected in sexual relationships with adults. After Tom O'Carroll of the Paedophile Information Exchange was convicted, socialist organiser published an editorial defending him. And these are people that want to be in power to govern you when they feel like this. So if you're about to vote for Labour, do you want to vote for paedophile appeasers? Because that's what it sounds like. I quote, if the left is to associate itself with the demand for sexual freedom, where's that demand coming from? Is that demand coming from little children? Or is that demand coming from dirty paedophilic mofos that want to get their hands on children? And they're running out of patience. They can't wait for paedophilia to become legal. That's why paedophilia is so prevalent from top down in our society. Because of attitudes like this, of people in authority that govern us. Happy voting, guys, coming from a Nazi. I love you all, apart from the paedophiles and people who appease and support paedophiles.
You're a 20-year-old,